guys? Masta Styles here, bringing you another Eternal Evolution video. And yes, we are on the free-to-play account. I just wanted to come on here because, the main account doesn't really have much going on. And for what I want to talk about, this is the perfect place to do it. So here, I'm trying to see if I could get me a copy of Riseris. Didn't work out. Like I said, we don't spend money over here, so none of that other stuff matters. Northion's back in the game for $200. If you want to spend your money, go for it. Is it really worth it? Not really. But the key thing I want to talk about here is, I have 80 limited tickets, and to get to my point is, what do you do? There's 3 new heroes that's going to be added to the game, and when you think about it, how do you manage your resources is going to make a big difference in terms of how you move forward for the next 3 weeks, I want to say, because obviously tomorrow the new hunter comes out, and the question is, do you invest in her, or do you wait and see what things are going to look like for the 2 weeks after her release? And obviously me and my strategy has been very simple. Pretty much, as the new heroes come out, take them to Immortal, hyper evolve them. Depending on how good they are, take them to EX20. I regret taking Ares to EX30, but we ain't gonna talk about that. Key thing is, obviously, there's gonna be a Vanguard and a new assassin added to the game. So the thing you want to think about is, when it comes to these 3 heroes, this is what I want you to be thinking about. Which one of the 3 is going to help me most? Because, a lot of people don't have enough resources to bring all 3 characters to Immortal. Maybe 1 or 2, depending on your account and where your standing is. If you have money, obviously you can, buy away or whatever the case may be. But for me, I'm thinking about, pretty much just getting at least 1 copy of each, because at the end of the day, though, you can use gene hybrids to level them up. It's not an SP situation where, for me, my hunters are pretty bad. And speaking about hunters, this guy here, I swear, if they made this guy here the boss for chapter 16 of the next Twilight Lands, it's going to be tough, because this guy right here, he's very hard to beat if you don't have the proper hunters built out. And I could see it where, when it comes to Twilight Lands, an interesting thing that they could do is they could have 16-4 be the summoner boss, 16-7 be this guy, and then 16-10 will be the time travel characters, where they can have 2 teams in the beginning, and then after you beat that, you go onto the boss. Where it's kind of like, how they've been doing the harder stages for the Katosian Triangle. I think that would be something different, because obviously, most people, they pretty much clear chapter 16 because you have tanks and it's not that difficult. I would have got top 10, but I made a lot of mistakes throughout that whole thing. And here, even with this free-to-play account, I actually made it to top 10, which is very impressive. Obviously, the free-to-play recap for week 5 will be dropping tomorrow. But I just wanted to come on here, talk a little bit about the new heroes and what you should be thinking to do go forward, because you're going to have to make a decision. You could either summon for her, the new character here, or you wait and save your tickets, which may not be useful come that event, where it probably is a new currency. You don't know that. And then what might happen is that you may miss out on getting her. So this is why I say, at least get a copy of her, and then, we could see what happens going forward, because once she's gone, it's going to be harder to, get copies of her, because, she'll come back around eventually. And hopefully it's not a Northion situation. Can always talk about that, because, Nord should have already been released back into the game. He's not as broken as he was when he was first released. Now he's a little more squishier, you know what it is. There's newer, better heroes added to the game. So I'm saying that when it comes to the next 3 weeks, manage your resources carefully. And for me, what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and do the same strategy that I've been doing. I'm gonna pick her up and take her to Immortal, because hunters are the one team that I'm lacking on. So remember, I said that pick one of the characters that are going to benefit your account most. And for me, picking her up will help my hunter team. And I realize that whenever I go to Twilight Lands, whenever it comes to the hunter bond, whether it be the unicorn or this guy here, I tend to struggle. Yes, you can use assassins to mow it down, but what happens when you don't have god tier assassins? What do? You have to go back to your hunters. My main account have good assassins, but this is a free-to-play account. And this is why I made it here, because I wanted to show you guys that, you're not always going to have your Dom, your Rickards, and your Baileys, and your Caraxias, and Valentis. But at the same time, it's like, hey, if you can get a new hunter hero that also does crit damage through true damage, that's the first, and there's piercing. So I'm very excited to pick her up. Now the question for the free-to-play account, the route I kind of want to go is the opposite, because again, I want to see how things are going to play out. And I know that over here I'm limited in terms of spend my tickets without actually thinking about it a little bit deeper. When it comes to my main account, obviously I get tickets from creating YouTube content. And about that, shout out to you guys for hitting the subscribe button, liking, comment. I love all of that. But what I'm saying on here, I don't get all of those benefits. So I have to slow grind and make sure when it comes to spending my tickets, I'm spending them wisely. So for this account, I am going to pass on a new hunter, but on my main account, I will pick her up, which I can kind of get a gauge, a sense to see if I should pick her up. And I'm going to do the strategy where I summon for her on the second week, because they always say, oh, you should summon for the second week, and then I'll have 120 tickets. I don't know who the other banner is going to be for this account. They're saying it's WOM again, but I don't know if it's going to be a little bit different because I'm still in the first couple of weeks of this game. But I'm excited either way, and I'm going to have to pass on her for the first week. Problem with that is that because I'm not summoning, I'm also not going to get the Gene Hybrid because I don't have enough chips to pick up the Gene Hybrid. And I can also see them doing a double chip event tomorrow to try to get you out of those limited tickets. That's something that could happen even though it's not in the patch notes. And sometimes, like you may notice when I post it on here, that they have something that's not in the patch notes and it's added to the game, whether it be going into training from this screen or idle battle. They never really mentioned that in the patch notes. You can go back and check. They were never mentioned in the patch notes. So big decision to make in the next 2 to 3 weeks in terms of how you want to manage your resources. We have no idea what that event's going to look like. Are they going to come out with a new currency? Are they going to use limited tickets? Obviously, if they use limited tickets, more people will be happy. If they come out with a different currency, a lot of people will be upset. Some people will probably quit, but for me, I like the game. So I'm not worried about none of that stuff. I like the game. It's a great game, and I've been invested in it. So for me, I want to keep playing, continue to make content. And if you guys continue to subscribe, comment, show me love, I will continue to, make content. And as you can see here, based off of this, even if the people behind me make it to 6 is so hard that they're not going to beat it. So I can solidify that I am going to be number 10 in my first Twilight Lands, getting top 10. I can't wait to make the video for the recap of week Week 5 is going to be a good one. So, like always, if you like Eternal Evolution content, this is the channel you want to subscribe to. And without further ado, I want to thank you for watching. Until the next one, peace.